Hey everybody, back with the 85 California IROC and making some progress on the car. As we left off last time, I think we did a trip down Memorabilia Lane if I recall, but I started tearing into the car and getting into it. I've taken out and completely rebuilt the fuel injector assembly, fuel rail, and took the injectors over to a place called RC Fuel Injection here in Torrance. Russ Collins, I believe, he's a famous motorcycle racer guy. They got a great shop, by the way. So they did a good job, including cleaning the cold start injector as well. So I'm very pleased with it. Hopefully they turn out well. Half of the injectors were closed or clogged. So they were in tough shape, and I did a good job, using some gum out and cleaning out all the varnish in the rail. Blew out the fuel line all the way to the fuel filter and pushed all that bad fuel out of there. So everything from here to the fuel filters now clean. Got the new belts on the car as well too. The other ones were really crispy, original. So I put new belts, got those in. Got the new alternator in, got the battery, and we actually gave her some crank, turned it over, and she turns over well. Don't hear any weird noises. Things are good. That's very positive. It seems like the valves are nice, the oil pressure's there. However, when we did start cranking it, we heard a little bit of a noise afterwards, and turns out the transmission cooler line, it's got a crack in it, and I think it's because of these coolant lines were leaking, and probably got some coolant on top of it. That's a possibility either way. So I ordered a new set of pre-bent transmission cooler lines. You're gonna have those sometime next week. Be able to replace that. That's good. The other thing, when I was doing the replacement of the fuel injectors, I broke this air assembly, which is like an emissions thing, and it cracked right off. So luckily enough, scouring eBay, believe it or not, I was able to find new original from the 1980s AC Delco parts, which is just unbelievable. So those were actually comparable priced to something new, which I was actually surprised they make these as well. So that's good. So I'll re-put that back on to this air pump, air assembly, which goes down to the catalytic converter, which is kind of part of the 80s fuel emissions. And the other thing I noticed too was the spark plug wire holders for this side are not connected to the exhaust manifold. So I bought a couple of these. Dorman, they redo parts and make those. So that's great. So that'll keep the wires from melting off of the exhaust manifold. What else is going on in here? Family effort on bleeding the brakes and getting this cruddy brake fluid out of the master cylinder. I literally had to scrub the master cylinder with alcohol just to take the scum off of it. So now it's got fresh brake fluid, and push that all the way through, just to give you an idea of how crummy that brake fluid looked. It was very nasty. So I've never seen brake fluid that far gone. So good to have that out of the system. I'm starting to gather a collection of old fluids here, old oil, bad gas. So yeah, that's good, because that's all the old contaminants we're trying to get out of the system. So moving through that, the next phase of the project is to start pulling the fuel tank out and actually get a new fuel pump in and strainer. After powering up the car, I did try to see if I got a reading on the gas gauge, and the gas gauge is pegged above full, and doing some research online, that told me the sending unit's probably seized and not given a reading. So as expected. So started this part of the project, and that's basically jacking the car up in the air over 20 inches. So once you get over the fear of having the car up in the air this high, making sure that it's really stable with jack stands, is the most important thing for me. Safety first. I've got one set of jack stands on the back part of the ladder frame. I got a safety backup set right in front of that just in case any of those slip. I do have the jack on the bottom of the rear end, and I've started to take off some of the suspension components to start dropping the tank. Includes taking off the panhard bar, taking off the sway bar end links, unbolting the shocks. I just got underneath and loosened the bolts on the catalytic converter with success. Many people, as you probably know, when you start cracking some of the rusty exhaust bolts, it's always a fear of cracking one of those or breaking them. So I'm very pleased that being California, there's just not that kind of rust or exposure to bad weather. So that does the car very well. Started ordering some coolant hoses and was able to get some of those, and those will be replaced as well too, as we were talking about the brake line. There's my fuel filter, cleaned up a couple other things. And on this side of the car, took off the gas door, and that's the filler neck, of course, which will be part of the gas tank dropping. So yeah, making a lot of good progress. It's coming around. So stay tuned and keep following the channel, and I'll be posting more and more videos up and maybe we'll do some time lapse as well too to kind of show you guys some progress. But yeah, really excited about the car, and she's coming around, and hopefully we'll be able to turn it over within the next 4 or 5 days and get it started and running. So thanks everybody.